Welcome back to Inform Overload. I'm your information overlord in the flesh, Johnny Rogers. And if you happen to be new here, we find the most interesting news stories on the internet and then make them more entertaining. So to never miss another story, click that subscribe button. Plus, you can follow us on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We got all the socials. Also, make sure you stay all the way to the end of this one because that's where I pick out some of your comments and read them out. After these incredible findings, we need a petition to rename the Stone Age to the Stoned Age. Scientists recently discovered something that has completely stunned them. It looks as though our ancestors, stretching back to nearly 2,500 years ago, found entertainment in smoking the devil's lettuce. Our minds can't even imagine what life was like before the internet and smartphones always with us to keep our hands busy and our brains entertained. But for a moment, try to get there with me. Imagine wandering the mountains with your tribe, searching for food. That is, until you come across this strange looking plant that's prospering all around you. Most likely they burned the marijuana plant for warmth, but soon realized the smoke that they were inhaling was transporting their minds to a place never before seen by humans. This would undoubtedly become the new form of entertainment as well as ritualistic practice to tap into the inner workings of the human mind. When scientists came across cannabis residue in the Jerzankal cemetery, confusion began to set in. The Jerzankal cemetery is a 5th century BCE tomb located nearly 3,000 meters above sea level in the Pamir Mountains of Central Asia. Led by archaeologist Yimin Yang from the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, he used an interesting method called gas chromatography to uncover these stoner secrets within the tombs. Within their findings, the research showed very high concentrations of tetrahydrocannabinol, commonly referred to as THC. THC is basically the opposite of CBD. It's the most psychoactive compound found in cannabis and is the root cause for that sensation of feeling high. Speaking of high, the authors of this study believe that the people from this area of Central Asia collected and regularly used cannabis for its effects on the mind. The study says it is possible that high elevation populations of a naturally higher THC producing variety were recognized and targeted by people in the Pamir region, possibly even explaining the prominence of ritual sites in the high mountains. Their evidence also showed that this could possibly be some of the earliest uses of the plant for recreational or ritualistic drug use. It's also important to note that the archaeologists believe the mind-altering plants played a very important role in ritual and or religious activities in various areas of the world, as well as having important medical purposes. But wait, it gets crazier though. We tend to look back on our ancient ancestors as being these unintelligent cave people, but in reality, they were quite good at what they did. The scientists also believe that our ancestors from 2,500 years ago even made their own strains of the plant by collecting subspecies and creating hybrids with other wild plants that they found. This would of course lead to a much stronger THC count, which helps us better understand the weed found in the Pamir Mountains. The researchers go on to say in the study, here we present some of the earliest direct dates and scientifically verified evidence for ritual cannabis smoking. The phytochemical analysis indicates that cannabis plants were burned in wooden braziers during mortuary ceremonies at the Jerzankal cemetery in the eastern Pamirs region. This suggests cannabis was smoked as part of ritual and or religious activities in western China by at least 2,500 years ago, and that the cannabis plants produce high levels of psychoactive compounds. Now, they weren't just smoking weed 2,500 years ago. The reason why they also decided to create new strains and harvest these plants also benefited their central trade routes. That's right, your ancestors sold weed. Robert Spengler, who is the co-author of this study and lab director for the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History, told USA Today the exchange routes of the early Silk Road functioned more like the spokes of a wagon wheel than a long-distance road, placing Central Asia at the heart of the ancient world. Our study implies that knowledge of cannabis smoking and specific high chemical producing varieties of the cannabis plant were among the cultural traditions that spread along these exchange routes. I wonder what they sold an ounce for 2,500 years ago. Huh? Probably a bag of fruit maybe? Now all this is well and good, but in a lot of places marijuana is still illegal. And for those of you who don't know the reason why cannabis was made illegal in the first place, it was because of two men named William Randolph Hearst and Harry Anslinger. Harry worked as the director of the DEA, and William was one of the biggest newspaper moguls of his time. In Hearst's own biography, it states that he hated minorities and used his newspaper chain to aggravate racial tensions anytime that he could. To terrify the public, Hearst quoted the head of the DEA in an article about a new drug on the scene called marijuana that was causing minorities to attack white women. The article says there are 100,000 total marijuana smokers in the US, and most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers. Their satanic music, jazz, and swing results from marijuana use. This marijuana causes white women to seek relations with them and others. This kind of fear-mongering continued in article after article, with some going as far as saying that marijuana makes its user go insane, commit crimes, and can lead to death. His racist statements though really came out when he was quoted saying that reefer makes darkies think they're as good as white men. Wow. Also proclaiming that smoking a joint would make you want to kill your brother. I'd only want to kill him if he stole my joint. I mean... The US then marked cannabis as a Schedule I drug, which means that it has no medical benefits. In many US states it still remains in this category, while at the same time other US states are trademarking its medical benefits. All of this craziness aside that's led to this plant becoming illegal, it does still have negative effects on your mind if it's not fully developed. We in no way encourage anyone to use marijuana if you're under the age of 21 or if you have a history of schizophrenia in your family. That being said, even if you don't smoke weed or never want to even try it, it's still pretty cool to think about these ancient humans using it as a means of connectivity and for religion, to be closer to one another, and ultimately a valuable export for their trade systems. But we want to hear your thoughts on this story though, so comment down below with what you think the people in the Stoned Age ate when they got the munchies. Now let's check out some of your comments from the video titled Dr. Disrespect banned from Twitch. Zane says, how disrespectful of Twitch. What? Pretty chill of them to take him down a peg in my opinion. Jordan Suarez says, Johnny, will you please pay Charlotte the $1.35 you owe her? I don't know where that started or where that came from, but my debt has been paid, I guess, even though it never existed. Mistress Jen says, so Johnny, is it InformOverload or InformOverlord? Couldn't resist. Nice outtake reel there at the end. You guys got that in my head, okay? Everybody here was laughing at me when I kept mixing it up. I'm struggling, but I'm getting it. Batman Fan Forever 08 says, I want to see Johnny's blooper reel. Who else? I'll ask the editing gods if they can throw something together for you guys. Thick Llama says, that's a great name, #1, but Thick Llama says, you will always be the Bacon King in our hearts. Aw, maybe someday I shall return to the Bacon Kingdom. We'll see. Thank you so much for watching InformOverload, and if you enjoyed this video, then show us some love by tapping that like and subscribe button. And if you find any news stories that you want us to cover, make sure to send the link in a DM to our Instagram page at InformOverload, and if we like it, you may just see your story on our channel. Plus, for more videos like this one, just click that playlist on the side of the screen. And from InformOverload, I'm Johnny Rogers. Until next time, take care.